You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Sitting Down with the Sisters. We are your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Temmie.
I'm Fred.
You're afraid?
Fred.
Oh,
I thought you said Freud.
I was afraid.
No, I'm Ayo. Hi.
Oh wow.
That was really powerful.
It's gonna play into the episode.
Yeah.
Right. So today on this episode, as you've seen from the title, we are speaking all things long distance relationship. Some of you might be wondering, oh gosh, what are they gonna say? Like, what is it about?
Not
What
oh
is
gosh.
this? Like, we're not here to really give advice. We're just talking.
No, which advice can
Because
we give?
really and truly, what do we know?
We're just
right?
giving our personal opinions
We're
as
just
we
giving
always
opinions
do.
as we do. We're just telling you. We're not here to tell anyone off or anything. Just sharing.
I'm actually screaming. What's happening?
I'm just saying.
Not to tell anyone off.
We're putting little disclaimers there because they can be like, oh, these aunties have come again. No. We're just giving We're just giving you our thoughts and opinions on long distance, guys.
It's gonna be interesting.
No, but that's a powerful. No, sorry, go on.
No, go.
That's
a powerful disclaimer because last time when we were trying to give opinion to the young people to not grow up to,
They called us aunties.
We were called aunties.
Fair.
So
She's
sometimes we have to come back and just remind people that it's just our opinion.
We're just
Don't take
trying
it
our
seriously.
best. We laugh you.
We want to see you win.
And if it touches one or two of you in the episode, amazing, that's great. But again, you don't have to do what we do. We're different for a reason.
As we say, we're not licensed therapists. We just give an opinion.
We just like
All we
chatting
have
for
is the Holy Spirit.
We like chatting for England.
But we have a psychologist actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, actually, quick one. So, what do you guys define as a long distance relationship? Because people have different definitions.
That's true. Because some people consider someone living 1 hour away as long distance.
I was one of those people.
That consider
Same.
that.
That's why I'm saying
I
that.
can consider somebody living outside London long distance.
Yeah.
Oh, I think long distance for me is if you obviously live outside of the country,
Only.
If you live outside of the country, or if you live up, I don't know, north,
Like
maybe
Scotland.
like in Scotland, Wales, these places.
Oh, Wales ain't far,
It's far.
It's far if you're to go, but
I
as in
don't
like,
think I can, again, I would
It's
consider that
closer.
as a long distance.
so anything like 5 hours
above
plus,
like the Midlands, you're far.
long
Okay,
distance.
got you. I think I'm the same, Because I used to consider, like, say if you lived in Kent, I used to think, oh, that's long distance. But then I also think my opinion was heavily tied to where I was at the time. And
What does that mean?
My finances were not there.
Right.
That's a
So
good.
I think
that's
that's
a good.
I think that's a big...
Wow.
It's a big factor to consider.
No, because when you don't have money,
You don't have
you
things.
think a lot of things are just
Out of
far
your
away
reach.
and not just physically,
reach.
Yeah.
but just out of reach. You just think, wow, that's not
like,
really
how am I supposed to
attainable.
be getting the train all the
stuff
time?
like-
to
but when
see-
you really deep it, like for example, Kent on the train, that is not
It's easy.
like there are places in London that is further away than Kent.
Facts.
If it makes sense.
Facts.
Like
Do you know why you're so right as well? I think when I started driving, my idea of long distance shifted a lot because again, driving comes with that freedom to drive wherever
Yes.
you want, and for
having
sure.
having financial freedom, I don't think people understand how much
It
of a
just
difference that
changes
makes.
your mindset
It changes
a lot.
everything.
Facts.
It
I
changes a
agree.
lot of things.
What do you consider long distance?
Do you know what it is? I consider a long distance relationship any relationship where you cannot physically like see that person
As often
on
as you like?
on a often like very regular basis.
What's the often regular basis?
Because I feel like if you have a man, right, you'd probably want to see him a couple times a week, like 2 times a week.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the.
Would you see? Is that what? Is that
I'm
your?
the type that likes to see you every day.
Same.
Okay, that's fine. But let's say we can't
if
see
we're
each
being
other every
realistic,
day.
I'm not jobless, innit? So, because with the way I live my life now, if someone that wouldn't be long distance would be somebody I can see like 2-3 times a week.
Really?
If I can't see you 2-3 times a week, then I think that's long distance.
Really?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
What
I
about
think
you,
frequency
Ashley?
of seeing.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all.
Yeah.
Do you think you have to see? Well, yeah.
Yeah,
is that how
I feel like if I was in a relationship, ideally I would want to see the person I'm with like 2 to 3 times a week, or like 2 maximum. Because again, we're not jobless, we're not 18 years old, have all the time in the world. But yeah, if I can't see you in that capacity consistently, then yeah, I would consider that falls under long distance relationship, because what other reason would I not be able to see you? That
And
like
there's a
those
distance
times.
between when I'm seeing you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How often do you want to see your man? Which one is how?
Every day.
Have you not seen that meme of that girl? Where she
I love that video.
I love it so much. Ooh, of course, 2 times a week would be great, but I don't. To me, it doesn't seem so realistic.
It's because she's booked, guys.
No,
Really?
I don't know.
I don't know why I thought your answer would be
when
more.
you said it. That's why when you said it, I was like, really?
No, I think it's because the way you are is different to us in that way. You, do you know
I
what
would
it is?
love to see him 2 times
You
a
would
week.
in
but
your lover girl bag.
Yeah.
Me, I will drop everything to see them.
Of course,
Yeah.
no,
I feel like you're more like there's a good reason
maybe
to like.
should I
not
tell you
see
what I
all
think
the
it
time.
is? Maybe it's what I'm used to, and I've just been
fair.
accustomed to that.
Fair.
Do you know what it is? But because I would also do the whole I'll drop if my man
I'll
used
drop
to see
everything.
me.
That's
I'm
a
not
good
gonna
point actually,
lie.
because when you're with someone that doesn't make time for you, that really like misconstrues
Oh, it changes
how
everything.
you would approach things.
And the thing
so I feel like if you were with
Oh.
someone that genuinely wanted to see you quite
Yeah.
often, Temi,
Yeah, but also it's not because like sometimes it's not about whether they want to make time for you, but even myself, I can be busy. They can, do you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. Even in my busyness,
Yeah.
I'm such
Sorry.
a. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You know the week goes by so quickly for me. Before I know it, it's Friday. It's
Oh,
like,
no,
babes, we
see.
haven't seen.
No,
you know, I've not
sorry.
laid eyes on you.
and that's
this
why I
week.
said I think we're different.
But you know what my priority is? As long as I am in touch with you every single day, that's my thing. I
That's
can
not
go a
enough
week
for me.
without seeing you. That's absolutely fine.
I get withdrawals. I can't lie. Like
I get angry.
I've had a range of experience. So I can see you every day, and then I've had once every like 2 weeks, and then I've
that's
had,
so true.
and now, why am I saying now? Hey.
Hey,
Anyways, and I've also experienced like you can't see them that often. It's rare.
I think I've experienced, I've
yeah.
experienced a mixture. Of course, you know, the more I see you, the merrier. I would never complain, even if I see 3. Well, it depends how much we're seeing each other, because we have lives as well. But I genuinely, I think if I can't, that would be the definition of long distance. If I can't see you as often as I would like to, because you live far away for that actual reason,
then
then
yes,
it's
long
like.
distance.
I have a random
guess
question on that actually. I have another question after that.
Yeah.
The question is, in the rank of the hierarchy of your life, where does your boyfriend or
Oh,
like your partner
gosh.
fall?
Ooh,
on
that's a really good
because
question.
I feel like that dictates how much you probably would see them because of where they fall in that category in that hierarchy.
Hey.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
So I was talking about this with my cousins over Christmas, and I was a liar because I said, "Oh yeah, it's God."
Not her admitting it
then
now.
it's my family. Then it's my friends. Then it's. I said I'm a liar because for real, I'm not gonna
I'm a
lie.
liar.
I know what you're gonna
It's
say.
Definitely God, then my man.
Let's talk
Wow.
about
And,
it.
and you know what?
Wow,
it's God, my man, but I include my man in my family. Like that's how I see
Yes.
it. So like for me, it's definitely God, my man, my family. Like
So your man before us?
Do you know what I? Do you know?
Don't
No, do you,
see,
no,
like-
no. Tell me.
Wait. But you guys are my family though. You're
I
my
love the way
friends.
you twang
No, but
that
that's
on.
real though.
And do you know what it is? I piggyback off of very heavily.
I lied.
Very late.
Because if I'm being honest with you, there's been a lot of times where I will literally plan around my man. So if I know he's only free on a particular
You're
day,
gonna plan around
and
that.
then my family want to do things on that same day, I say,
Sorry.
you need to wait.
Just hold it up.
I need to see my man first.
Yeah.
And then we can do what you
Yeah.
want to do.
I'm not gonna lie.
Because otherwise, do you want me to be angry?
Do you want me to cry?
Because I'm the type of person, if I haven't seen my man, I'm angry.
I'm sad actually.
I'm actually devastated.
I'm quite sad.
So that's why there's an order of things,
Let's
and we
be
need to
frank,
be.
guys.
We need to do things accordingly.
We're such lover girls.
And we're really loving
No,
it.
we
I can't
are.
lie. Me, I love you. What do you want me to do about it?
Me, I love you.
And like, you know, if my brother tried to out me when I lied in Scotland because he was like, "Ayo."
It's not even more
the way I
amazing.
put-
Because it just
I put the
sounded
man
good to
down.
say it that
He said-
way.
He just looked
It
at me like,
sounded
yeah, it
good.
sounded-
It
The way
sounded
Muya
good.
looked at me, just said,
But really and
It
truly,
sounds
no.
responsible. Like, it
sounds like it makes sense, but does it make
"I lied."
sense?
I'm not gonna lie. I
And
lied.
when you look at the decisions you've made, were your family really second?
Right.
Mia's even just look at me like, when you're at home and you're on the phone, like, okay, now what? Can we even talk to you? All right then.
Someone's
Trying to interrupt. It's like, go away. I'm on the phone. What are you doing?
What are you really saying to
like,
me?
why is it every time I'm on the phone is when you want to come?
Facts of life.
Tell me, what about you?
Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, there has to be a discrepancy.
Okay.
Are we talking about marriage, husband, or boyfriend?
No,
Literally just your
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Your man.
I think it's on the same level as what you said. Like, if God, of course, and then
Can never move.
my family is my man, so family and my man.
I agree. Like, what's the problem? Who's gonna beat me? That's what I have to say.
No, but seriously.
Who's gonna beat us? No, because
How can you tell me my man can't be second?
No, because you know what it is? My cousin even made a good point. He helped me. He said, because when the way we dating it, we're dating to marry. So,
Right.
courting. We're doing it intentionally.
Right.
Right? Because marriage is what is coming. So technically,
That's why
you
I had
can't
to ask the question.
We're preparing for marriage, are we not?
That's
so,
why we have
so
to
you're
ask
my
the
family.
question.
You're my
family.
number one, after God.
You're my family. And you know what? And so that's to also put like my friends. I see them as my family.
Yeah, my
Not all
close
friends.
friends. My close friends. Yeah, let's be frank.
No, because
Okay.
there's
Of course, like,
differentiation.
this
This is not to be shady.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
no, yeah,
There's
well-
acquaintances, there's friends, there's close friends, and there's people you consider family.
Yeah, exactly. So the friends that you consider family, of course, I put them in the family section, and then you have the man.
Yeah.
And then now the question is, we've asked this before because again, questions will stem from all these, scenarios
what
and
we're
questions
saying.
we're throwing out. So it's scenario. It's your man's birthday,
Oh, I know what you're
I'm your
gonna
man,
say.
Fred.
and it's your best friend's birthday. That's your family. What are you? Which one are you going to now?
Let's be very frank. It's whoever told me first.
I'm going both.
How are you gonna
No,
do that?
I will go to both. I know me. I'm gonna make it to both.
No, do you know? I'm not gonna lie. Depending on
The plans.
the plans, if it's possible to
Then
go to
defo.
both,
Do you know-
but say if it's not possible.
It's possible. Do you know why? Because do you know what it is? Because because if it's your man's birthday or your really close friend's birthday, you will have notice from a minute. If anything, you're helping them to plan. So we will plan around the time where I can be at both. Because for example, if it's the same day, this 24 hours is a long time.
But let's
I
be
shower.
frank.
What if it's an evening? But what if both of them are doing something in the evening?
Someone will have to switch to afternoon.
Okay.
What if the one with your girls is going to be a weekend and then the one with your man is the evening?
This is a really good
The whole weekend. Okay, perfect. If it's the whole weekend with my girl and my man's just one evening, I'll go to my man in the evening and then join them for the weekend with the girls. See how you're multitasking? You have to be at both.
But see, that's the way. So the problem with me is that I must do all of them to the fullest.
No, it's gonna be.
So what if? No, because to be honest, the real question is if it's on the same day. And if it's on the same
because
day,
that question's easier for me because then it's kind of on different days. Like your girls
exactly.
one is going
Yeah,
into the
yeah. So
weekend,
of
so, you're
course
going to
you
be
can
there.
attend both,
So
yeah.
if it's the literal same
if it's the
day,
same day,
time.
Sorry, whoever asked me first.
So your girl asked you first. You're going to the girl.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you enjoying this episode? If you are and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Go down below and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on our Instagram and our TikTok. Sitting Down with the Sisters.
Yeah.
If it's you two, let's be frank.
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on.
that person as
He
well.
will also understand. You say, okay.
I'll plan something a separate day for us to do. You be with your friends, have a great time.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, my man.
And I would have seen him in the morning.
Yeah,
I would
something
go.
like
I'll
that.
make it special.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
of course, I can't physically be there.
Yeah.
But
Your
I'd
man's
still,
having a party, you guys, and everyone's
don't know
gonna
about
be there. A party or whatever it is that he's having, like a gathering, like
Well, to
something
be-
huge where everyone's gonna come.
Okay.
We'll leave that for food for thought.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, comment down below what you guys would do.
So what I was gonna say after my question was, would you guys ever do long distance?
Oh yeah,
Based on
Let's
all
come
our
back to the
definitions and
topic.
stuff.
Going back to what I previously said, if you asked me this maybe 3 years ago, my answer would have been no. Again, due to finances. But as of today, 2024, my answer is yes, I actually would.
Wow.
Would you do long distance?
I would. Do you know what it is? I feel like I've always been open to it because in a lot of ways, I actually feel like long distance really honors God. And now this sounds so mad.
No, it makes sense. I know what you're going to
But
say. Yeah.
like the reason why is because you have to be intimate and learn how to know somebody more than in a physical way.
Yeah.
And it also challenges you to see if that relationship has substance more than a one that you see them all the time. And also like it gets you to kind of go back to the traditional old school way of dating where you have to be intentional about when you communicate, especially if time difference is now involved. Like you have to be intentional when you speak.
Calls.
You have to be intentional about the way you make each other feel special and stuff. So I think it's a very intentional way to date.
I agree. I do agree to some extent. Would I do a long distance? I'm still not sure. I'm not gonna lie. That's my honest opinion. I'm 50-50. I think it would take a special person for me to do a long distance relationship. I'm yet to meet someone that's made me ever to feel like that. But I wouldn't shun it to the side. I wouldn't rule it out completely. But for now, it's a 50-50. I don't actually have an answer to that question.
The only time I was against it was when I was like, oh no, but I must see you every day. And then I realized at the age of 26 now, I realized it's not even feasible. Yeah. So like, then I realized, okay, even if I'm not going to see you every day, that when you're in a long distance relationship, the plans for your relationship are slightly different. The timelines also change a bit, because if you're dating and you're with someone that you see all the time, you might not get married as soon, not because you don't want to, but because
things are a bit more delayed.
You know, being a bit more relaxed. But I feel like the only way you can intentionally long distance date is if you have an end goal in sight that you're working towards, like as a timeline. Because I think if you don't set, if that's not a part of your dating process, I remember my big brother, I only have one big brother, my older brother and his wife, they knew that if they were going to date, she was from America, if they were going to date, they're not going to date for 10 years or they're not going to date for 5 years, because what does that mean?
If anything, actually, I'm talking about, I was thinking about it from a way where it delays things, but if anything, it kind of hurries it up as well, because it lets you put your priorities in order. There's no going with the flow,
and you're more intentional about it as well.
You're focused on 100%. Just priorities more. Are we doing this or are we not? Because long distance is a lot of commitment, and there's no point in putting all that pressure in, on something,
and it weeds out the people who are not serious.
100. Do you know what's so crazy?
To do long distance, like just going back to the point of you both have to be on the same page, like knowing that you're working towards an end goal, and if this isn't what you want, you're not gonna want to talk to someone who is far away because it's like, actually this isn't what I want. So
and if anything, the way, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but the way I am when it comes to, if I was to ever be in a long distance, I just know how I would be. Like it would take a lot, like I said. And if I start to honestly wanting to talk to you so more often, and I'm actually dedicating time aside to literally speak to you a lot, then that's a good sign in itself, and I can actually see that, okay, this is potentially going somewhere. Whereas when it's not a long distance relationship, you don't have those
I don't have to think about stuff like that
reassurance doesn't come straight away because it's so normal.
That's so true.
And on that, it just reminds me of a YouTube couple that I used to watch. They're called Jess and Gabriel. He was from America and she was Australian, and so she came to America.
Wow, America to Australia,
crazy distance. She came to America and she was there for like 3 weeks, and she met him. They went on their first date, and then he took her to church on their first day. And then when they were leaving each other, they were like, okay, let's actually have a real conversation, because we got along. They fell in love even. Like it was that kind of fairy tale vibe. They'd fallen in love in like 3 weeks, and they were like, okay, we have to be honest here, because you're going back to Australia and I live here. So should we actually pursue this? Like they had to talk about this.
Honestly, that's how you show intention.
For some people, that would have been like, oh, that's too fast, like whatever. But for them, it's like, okay, let's be honest, because if we're there, we've done all of this, we've fallen in love, and then we're not actually sure, then let's cut it here. Like, he was like, let's just cut. Like they were like, let's just end it here. But they were like, once they made that decision, they knew they were going to get married, and they literally got married within the same year they met. No, I think they got married the next year or within the same year that they met, because they just were sure. Right. And I feel that's what it is about long distance relationships. Like there's no by force in it, but I feel like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to do it properly, because those conversations come up and they come up earlier. It's like, okay, you're literally, especially in Australia where they're in the next day and you're here, like you need to now think about, okay, do I is investing my time in this gonna make sense?
Be worthwhile?
Because if not, then it's actually not by force.
Right.
It's not by force,
and it's so true.
It's cutthroat. Very cutthroat.
Defo.
It's so true that those conversations, and that's how it should be.
I agree.
I feel like in our generation, and sometimes dating someone that like lives not too far away or that's in close proximity, you can delay those conversations and not be as intentional about it, because you
take for granted that
because the person's there, so you think you have all the time in the world, when really I always encourage all my friends, have those conversations, be asking all the questions. I don't care if it's the first day.
Queen of questions, mate.
Respectfully, I'm gonna know.
You guys know I advertise the
on
this channel. Yeah, having those conversations very
early
necessary.
on.
Why do you think a lot of women run away from those conversations or don't ask them?
I think a lot of women want to. I think they're scared of
either the answers, or they just don't want to come across a certain
full on.
way.
They don't want to seem full on. They don't want to seem like they care too much. They want to seem like they really want this to work. Because I feel like when you ask those questions, it starts to show the other person that you really care about what's going on. Versus you wouldn't ask somebody those questions if you don't really care what's going on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like when you start thinking that you want to ask those questions, it's like, oh, okay.
Most likely is the right time.
Yeah, and I actually like this. I'm interested in this person.
It's making sense to me. Like I would, and I feel like if you're scared, or not scared, because scared that can be a valid emotion, but if you're resistant to asking those questions, then I actually think you should also question whether you see value in what you're pursuing with a person. Because I actually feel like when you have a good bond with someone, I feel like these conversations, they come up so naturally. I've never understood when people can come and boldly say on the internet or even in person that, oh, I've been talking to this guy for 6 months and you guys have never spoken about like real life stuff. Like what, you're talking about your favorite show and you're talking about shoes.
Well, you ate it yesterday.
That's it.
Yeah. I've
never understood that.
I think a lot of women also, they shy away from those conversations because they follow the tone set by the man. Right. So if they see the man is like nonchalant and he hasn't really said anything about it, so okay, he hasn't said anything, so I'm not going to say anything.
Guilty.
I've been guilty too, but it's changed. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, I will ask, okay, so where do you see this going?
You can't put your life in someone else's hands.
And especially when you see on social media, guys saying, oh, when she asks, oh, where do you see this going? What's next? I don't care.
I've never cared.
Oh, yeah, it's always good to know beforehand.
Yeah,
anyway,
I want to know from the jump, because you're not going to surprise me. It's not going to be 4 to 6 months of talking, and then I ask you, and then you say, actually, I don't know if I'm ready in a relationship. That's 6 months gone. You've invested emotions, and you have an emotional attachment to a person who is more than likely not going to be your boyfriend.
Definitely.
And that's an emotional attachment developed for what?
Error.
Yeah, we can really eradicate a lot of these things from early on if we have those conversations.
I actually think what it is people just, they're not serious. Because I personally think the way we date is very corrupt and finished. As people, because I think we use people as like emotional blankets, because if we're being honest, a lot of emotional purity is not happening. It's just, this is what feels good at the moment, so I'm doing it. But like if you genuinely cared about a person, you would never long out at talking, or like, that's why I've always told you a lot on this podcast, I don't believe in talking stages. You talk because talking is to get to know someone, that's normal, but like intention should come in very early. If this is, obviously I'm not talking, I can only speak from a Christian perspective, where you're dating with intention or courting, whatever you want to call it, with intention. Right. I've never understood how you could just be going with nothing's happening.
Which flow is
both of you will never be settled, and you will not feel secure in that relationship. You'll always be thinking because it's natural. I feel like you will notice it's so natural to start feeling unsettled when nobody has said anything. No one's actually saying
Of course it's going to be an
anything.
emotional roller coaster, because there's no intention. You don't have a clear direction that you're going in, so that's why it's an emotional roller coaster, and your emotions are all over the place, and you're needing reassurance every minute of every day, because you don't know where it's going. You don't know if a relationship is going to come out of this. You don't know what the other person wants, because there's no vocal communication about it.
It's just wishes, empty wishes into thin air.
Are you watching and you're still not subscribed? Hit that button right now.
But on that, actually, I was going to say, what do you guys think are the pros and cons of a long distance relationship? Because when you were speaking about reassurance, I didn't want to say it's a con of a long distance relationship, but I just think when you're in a long distance relationship, you require more reassurance.
Yes.
And I feel like when we were growing up, I feel like reassurance seemed to seem like such an annoying thing that
like it was like
needy,
a burden,
like it's now beggy and clingy, and like you're a pest. Exactly. But do you know what I've actually realized? Because the person I look to as the author of what love should look like is Jesus. Jesus reassures us of his love every day. Every day.
Yes.
At any moment, if you ever need a time to be reminded of who you are in his eyes, that he will do it at a drop of a pin. And I feel like if marriage is meant to mirror Christ in the church, then I personally think reassurance should be a big part of any relationship.
Yes.
Even if it's long distance or not. But I don't know if that's a con. over a long distance relationship. I just think it's a thing. So, but yeah, pros and cons.
I agree, you know, and to go back to my other point about you needing reassurance every single day, I think it only becomes an issue when there's a lack thereof inwards. So it's coming from a place of insecurity and you don't trust the person you're with because of they've done whatever or they're not doing, or there's a lack of action,
or you're comparing
on their
to
end.
what you've experienced before.
And to go back to your point, if it's someone, again, from a Christian perspective, they believe in God, they honor God, and they honor dating and marriage and all the steps in between, and they want to do it as a reflection of Jesus, then of course the reassurance would be and look different. And it would come from a place of, okay, I know this is what God tells me every day, and this is how I potentially want to love this person. So I know this is their love language and how they need to be loved, versus if you're dating just anyhow, and then it's, oh no, I'm not dating other people, or no, I'm not doing this with that girl, I'm not doing this with that person. So it will look very different. So yeah, I would say there is a self-reflection that needs to be done as well. Okay, why? What do you want that reassurance to look like?
And what do you want it for? Because I actually think it happens naturally if you genuinely both love each other, because you'll just naturally be telling each other how much you love each other, how much they mean to you. So it's not even like you have to reassure them, it's just you naturally live it out. It happens.
I agree, but then also I'm trying to think for those people that it doesn't come naturally to you, because that exists, and just because it doesn't come naturally to you doesn't mean you don't feel that way. And I can slightly fall into that category because I'm an affectionate person by nature, and I've been told that, but sometimes it can take me more than the average person to show affection. And when there's a long distance relationship, it can be misconstrued as something else. That's what
that's a good
point. Con can be. But then how to turn that into a pro is then you working on yourself, and it challenges you to look within and know how to love someone in their love language, and understand that, you know what, this person is far away, I'm committing myself into this relationship, so therefore I know that I would need to reassure them more than I would have to if they were down the road. So I'm going to do active things and take active steps to make sure I do that. But then there can also be a problem when you're trying to give them that reassurance, and what if it's still not enough? You know, everyone is different, everyone loves differently, and we see that through our personalities. But the older I get, the more I'm realizing that people just show things in different ways. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that's just the reality. And if people show things in different ways, you can't really measure how they actually feel. Because, for example, if someone is just like a natural empath, or someone that's just naturally giving, and there's just someone that's a little bit more reserved, the person that's more reserved can even love you more than the person that's just all, but it's just their personality. You know, so I think, again, digging deep, but that can be a con in a relationship, because then, you know, you might not be able to understand each other, and it's hard to communicate with all the other barriers that we've listed. It's like time zones, and we might not be able to speak so often, and then guess what, the result of that is things will now begin to fizzle out. It doesn't mean there weren't genuine love there, but because of the distance, now we can't, you know, talk about it as much. So that's what I would say a con is. That I was relating that to myself, because that's why I was 50-50, because I wasn't sure if I'll be, those cues or something that I could adjust to so easily or pick up on, you know.
And I think that's honest. I think a lot of people need to be honest with themselves, and
it requires a lot.
It requires a lot,
but I would,
mentally.
But on the positive side, I feel like a big pro, because I think people always get worried about this, is, oh, like, you never really know a person and then you marry them and they turn into a witch. I feel like where a pro of long distance relationships is you really, really know them. And like, obviously, this can be like, no, they could pretend to be somebody that they're not. Fair. I think it all depends on a lot of different factors. But if we're going to speak in a hopeful factor and a positive factor, especially if you've met the person before you engage in the long distance, I think that helps, because it would be difficult for me if I've never met you to do long distance versus if I've met you but you just live in a different country. I think that plays a different role.
I think that's a clear distinction.
And that's another question. So did I cut you off, by the way?
I was just going to say a big pro is just you get to know, you know them very well, more than you might not, more than you might know a boyfriend that lives close to you, because the conversations you have to have, like you will know how they are when they're angry, when they're upset, when they're annoyed, when like, because their emotions are more heightened when there's distance.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm
saying.
And Absolutely, you're right, and that led to what you were saying. Led to a question I wanted to ask. I'm glad I remembered before it ended. How often do you feel like you have to see your partner on a long distance relationship? Because that's what makes or break. When that question comes in, that's when a lot of people decide whether they can actually do it or not.
That's a very good question. I think it's all based on finances.
But let's say you had it your way, and let's say finances wasn't a factor.
Also, ideally,
actually, it is a factor.
It's a factor,
of course,
because I think it plays a role.
Huge factor.
I think if we're going to personalize it, the finances I have now, if that person did not live in this country, but then it also depends where they are.
Let's talk about
if they lived in Europe, different country.
Let's talk about an average person that is, let's say, approximately 6 hours away from you, 7 hours away from
America
you.
vibes, or Nigeria,
Africa, or America is a bit further, isn't it?
It depends where you're going,
right? So I think that's what it is. It depends on a lot of factors.
Because you know what, say it's Nigeria, same time zone, same everything, is a bit different, and at different times of the year, it's a bit more affordable to fly there. To fly to America, it's a bit crazy, depending on where you're going, because America's huge.
Right.
If it's Australia now, completely different conversation. Do you know what I mean? So all of that, I feel like it's really,
There's
really
so
dependent.
many variables.
But for me, if I in a situation where I'm very financially free, seeing them like every 2 months is very like, or every 3 months, I think like every quarter maybe actually is very I think is very good. If you don't have financial freedom but you have money, like you're working, whatever, I think at least knowing that you're going to see them at least twice a year can work as well. So I think I know it's mad.
Even hearing that, I'm like,
it's just gonna have to be long periods.
Yeah.
But one thing I've seen, Tony Turner talks about this a lot because she is in a long
distance relationship. She's a perfect
I love
example.
the way they actually share their relationship. I think it's really sweet.
She's helping a lot of people.
One tip she always gives is when you see each other, always have a date set for when you're next going to see each other. Because then when you're always looking forward to when you're next going to see them, it helps your relationship versus never knowing when. It can always feel aimless.
Just guessing and hoping.
Yeah. And also having a deadline for when you're going to close the distance, she always says, which I think is a really big thing to have as well.
Facts, actually, because then again, it just seems aimless. What about you?
I honestly,
every 4 weeks, every month.
You know, I was going to be my one like once a month, but again, it depends on where they are.
It really does.
Like if they're in Europe, like France or Spain, even every other week, I can do it.
Wow, money,
She says she can do it.
But it really depends on where they are. Like, I don't think it's a black and white question.
Yeah, it's not.
But if they did live further out, then like every 2 months. Like, as long as I'm just, and again, that's another pro, creativity. Because if I can't see you physically, we'll find ways like today. Like, that's why there was one couple as well on Twitter. This is during COVID times. They lived in, like they lived far from each other, but not too far. But obviously, they couldn't see each other because of lockdown. They would literally set time, like FaceTime days, and they would have dinner in front of their camera, like just little stuff that.
So cute.
So cute.
But yeah, it's not black and white.
It's not black and white.
It's really not.
I would say maximum. I'll start to find it difficult after 3 months. I will start to find it difficult. But I think, again, what will help, I can do longer than 3 months if I really have to, if I really like this person and they really like me as well. Yeah. Again, just finding creative ways. As long as I hear from you very often, I can maybe do longer than that. But yeah, it's just about finding ways, like aiming for other things. Like, when am I going to see you next week?
Having it as a priority.
That would keep me going. But yeah, I could do.
But even in long term, you have to talk every day. Like people, because some people, I don't know.
Even if it's a little check-in, you have to talk every day.
Actually, to round up, you lot that are in relationships say you don't need to talk to your man or girl.
Liars.
I don't really get that.
Liars.
Do you hate them?
I don't think they're telling the truth.
I actually think they're lying.
You know what it is? You're capping.
They're lying.
It's like,
I think men could do it, but I don't know why.
No. If a man loves you, he can't do it. Sorry. I'm sorry if that breaks a lot of people's hearts.
No, it's
but
so
I'm
true.
Sorry.
If he wants to, he will.
Bex, what do you think? You gotta talk to her every single day, yeah? At least
every
to check.
day.
At least.
And I'm a good man.
And I'm not just. And I think when people have this conversation, they're thinking of just people that they're just talking to. Someone that you love. You're telling me you can go what?
I'm telling you, they don't love them. They hate them.
You don't love them.
You see it as a chore to talk to the person that you love.
You don't love me. You don't want to speak.
No,
you say you love me, but you don't want to speak to me. You're
and the
a
reason
liar.
I brought that up is because in long distance, obviously in a normal relationship you'll talk every day, but in a long distance one, you speak FaceTiming and like voice notes and all that stuff is a bigger deal because seeing their face and like hearing their voice is huge. Versus
imagine.
like in a normal
It's like a
relationship
hymn
you can text
to your
It's
ears.
a song.
It's a song.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're not lying. Let's be honest.
Not
you're not lying.
liars.
Sorry, that's it.
A bunch of liars.
That's
But
really it.
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, you already know
We'll
that.
leave it. We'll leave it at that, guys. Again, we're just giving our opinions. Thank you for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Like we said, there is more to come, so stay tuned. Subscribe,
follow us
on our socials, on Insta, even Twitter. You know, TikTok, Twitter.
Yep.
And we'll see you very soon. Bye.